My last Club 100 update was only 2 months ago. It came out on January 14th. I'm now filming this on March 23rd. Typically, I need more time to accrue another 100 use products, but this time they kind of just all happened at once. And this one is extra exciting because I have 6 or 7 eyeshadows, and I've actually been taking progress photos for something else, and so I'm actually able to show you what 100 uses looks like over a period of time, which is awesome. I don't think I've ever been able to do something like that before. I'm really excited to show that to you. I'm going to start with the product that I just inducted into Club 100 today, literally just applied it for the 100th time, and then work my way up to products that have been worn more than 100 times, and then end with the eyeshadows at the end. Save the best for last, but I won't take too long to get there. I won't drag it along. Quickly though, my Club 100 videos are me inducting products into Club 100 if I'm able to wear them 100 times. I give little reviews on them too because I have a really good idea of how they work, having worn them so many times, but I also think it's interesting to see what 100 uses looks like on different products. I've been doing these for a long time. I have several videos like this, probably 14 or 15 at this point, and I do have a playlist if you'd like to watch some of my past Club 100 inductions. And over time, I sometimes have products that get inducted into Club 200 and Club 300 as well. It's a lot more rare, and it's even more exciting getting to see products that can last 200 or 300 plus uses. So let's start with the product, like I said, that I just inducted today. I just wore it for the 100th time, and that's a lip gloss from Lisa Eldridge in the shade Muse. I'm wearing that on my lips today. I just filmed my Project Pan update, and that one should be up already. And on video with you, I took the stopper out and pushed more of the product down and then put the stopper back in. And because I just did that like an hour ago, you're able to see that there is a window in the packaging. This is a more opaque product and it sticks to the sides, so I wasn't able to see anything before I did that. And like I said in that Project Pan update, I probably have a third, maybe even a little more than a third of the product left, which I think is pretty good. Some of the glosses I've worn in the past, I just barely hit 100 uses. Some have taken me more than 200 uses. I am glad to see that I'm getting a lot of wear out of this considering it's a more expensive gloss. Next up is this Exa green color corrector. This is a brand new tube. I actually finished the old tube. The original tube took 97 uses to finish, and I have worn this 3 or 4, maybe even more times. So it's crossed the 100 use threshold, but I wasn't able to get 100 uses out of one tube. Also, I know I have been talking about a best and worst green color corrector video for a long time now. I am still testing out products. I'm still getting my thoughts together. I just want to make sure I get it done right, and it is one of the most labor-intensive videos that I do, those like best and worst videos. And so I am just going to take my time and make sure I do it right, even if it does take longer to get there. But this is something I will include in that best and worst green color corrector video. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that I really like this, and I had no problem purchasing a new one once the old one was gone. Yes, I wish I got more wears out of it, considering it's like a $30-something product, but I think it's really nice. I love it, especially because I do have a lot of redness in my skin, and adding this to my foundation really helps to cancel that out. This one might be one of the longest products it'll take me to finish ever, and that is this contour shade from the Charlotte Tilbury Nudegasm palette. I've worn this 107 times, and there's still the actual original embossing on top of it. This is the brush I use to apply it. It's a fluffier, smaller, round brush. And I kind of just grab a little bit of it, and then I start around my jawline and then maybe a little bit under my cheekbones. I'm really not using a lot. I certainly don't use as much contour as I did back in the day. I'm pretty sure I panned an entire Kevin Aquan contour shade and probably hit pan on like the Kat Von D ones and stuff too. And considering I've worn this 107 times and there's barely a dent in here, it would last me forever and ever. And I don't really even use contour every day. So the next one is this foundation from LA Girl. You might be able to see that there's a line. Let me see if I can get a picture. Okay, yeah, it's a little bit easier to see in a photo, so I will have that on screen, but I've reached for this 100 times, and I'm right around this point in the bottle. So maybe like a fourth or a third of the way through. If I used an entire pump every time I wore this, then I would be a lot further along in the bottle. But I use this as a mixer just to slightly adjust or lighten any other foundations that I'm wearing. And so I'm using like a half a pump, maybe even a little bit less than that, depending on what I'm using it for. I will say that this formula is a little thicker and more pigmented than the white concealer from this brand, from LA Girl, and I really like the concealer. I think that works a lot better with what I want to use it for my foundation. If I add too much of this, it can make my foundation look just more apparent on my skin, look a little thicker. So this is not my preferred white color correcting product. I definitely recommend the white concealer over this one. And that one I also inducted into the Club 100 series probably last year or even earlier than that. And I can show that to you right now. This one I've worn 128 times, and there is a little bit of a bubble in here, but there's still so much product in here, so you're still getting a really, really great value for your money. I just like the formula of this a little bit better than the foundation. But I don't hate it. I still can find a use for it. I still like it. I like having lightening products in my collection for complexion products because I am more fair and I just get even paler in the winter, and sometimes even my lightest foundations don't really work. So yeah, 109 uses out of this. And the next one on the list is an eyeliner that I again just talked about in my Project Pan update. This is the Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal Liner in the shade Ash. I have maybe a month and a half, max 2 months left of wear out of this, and I've worn it 114 times. So even though it is a more expensive eyeliner, it's not like I'm burning through it. I'm getting a decent amount of use. I have some eyeliners like the one from Essence that I wore a ton before they were gone. I think I have the numbers. For reference, the Essence eyeliner took me 156 uses to go through, and that's also a creamier eye pencil. But the Essence liner is like $5 and this Victoria Beckham one is like $34. So you're getting a similar amount of use for a much cheaper price with the Essence one. And I like the Essence eyeliner formula better than the Victoria Beckham one. The Victoria Beckham one is very, very creamy, and so is the Essence, but this one is almost too creamy. This next one is going to take me forever to finish, and I'm kind of annoyed about it because I don't love the formula, but I'm also kind of happy about it because it's really expensive, and that is the Make Beauty Skin Mimetic Concealer. I've worn this 133 times, and I took out the stopper forever ago, and I still have so much product in here. And it's a beautiful, nice formula, like really it's fine. It's just a scooch too dark for me, and which isn't really that big of a deal because it has very little coverage, and so when it blends out you can't really tell. But I like more full coverage concealers, and so this one is like too skin mimetic for me. I fell for the hype. This was really hyped up on the internet for a long time, so I got it. By the way, I'm in 03 Light C. I probably could have gone for the lightest shade. And there are some lighter coverage concealers that I really like this one from Makeup Revolution, the Eye Bright in the shade Light. This is a beautiful, very skin-like concealer, really great shade match for me, and this has enough coverage to like still do something. This one I feel like I really have to pack it on for it to do anything, and then it has more of a dewy finish, which isn't really the finish I'm going for under my eyes because I like to have that place properly set so that my mascara and eyeliner don't transfer to my lower lash line. So I find that after I've blended this out, I've added some coverage but not enough to fully conceal everything I want to conceal on my under eyes. So definitely not something I would recommend. I would even go as far as to say that it's a disappointing product just because I am looking for something very different in my concealer. But you know me, I'm kind of stubborn, and I've gone this far. I might as well finish it to get my money's worth, and also just to see how many uses it takes to finish. If it were really that bad, I wouldn't finish it. I don't hate pan stuff, but I am more so motivated to finish it for other reasons than just I like to use it. And before I move on to those eyeshadows, I do have one product I'm inducting into Club 200, and that's this eyeshadow primer from Jason Wu. It's called the Wu Prime Eye, and I don't know if there's multiple shades of this. This is a really, really light cream color, and it's incredibly pigmented, so I just need the tiniest little dot of it on my finger pad, and then I rub it together, And then that is enough product to go all over both of my eyelids. It's a really nice eyeshadow primer. I feel like it helps my eyeshadows last longer, and it helps them pop because it has enough pigment in it that it kind of blanks out my lid and creates a really nice brightened canvas for the eyeshadows to really pop on top of it. I'm 241 uses in and I still have a ton of product left in here. Okay, now let's talk about these eyeshadows. I'm so excited. So these are some of my oldest single eyeshadows, and I mentioned in my plan to pan video that I put out earlier this year where I talked about products that I want to finish in 2025. I mentioned these singles because they are originally were my 8 oldest eyeshadow singles. I've since finished 2 of them. And of the 6 that I have left, I have reached for them so much over the past 4 or 5 months that I've been able to reach 100 tracked uses on all of them. Please keep in mind that I don't have total number of uses for these eyeshadows. I didn't track individual eyeshadows for the majority of the time that I've owned eyeshadow. A lot of these I got, I think, in like 2018, and so I've had them for several years, and I only just started tracking uses for these back in September of last year. Of those tracked uses, I've either surpassed 100 uses or gotten close enough. I am very, very sure that I've worn each of these 100 times at least. So let's start with this first one here. This is Arcana from Clionadh, and I do have pan on it. This one I have worn 90 times from that first photo all the way to the current photo. So 90 uses allowed me to hit pan and then flatten out a lot of the shade. This is a beautiful duochrome. I love wearing it all over the lid on its own or with other things. I think I'm wearing it on my lids today, actually, yeah. I'm wearing it, and then I have a little bit of 143, which is that matte purple on the outer portion, but just very, very lightly, almost like a watercolor and not a full-on opaque purple. The next one is Clionadh Aqua Vitae. This is also a duochrome. It's got a beautiful light blue base and then a silvery white gold shift. I love how brightening this is. I love that it has a hint of blue. I wear it a lot on the inner corner. And the difference between the first photo and the very last photo is I have worn it an additional 98 times. And you'll see that I was able to hit pan on it after 98 uses as well. The same cannot be said for this next one, which is Clionadh Filigree. This is more of a traditional metallic shade. It's not a duochrome. And I am very close to hitting pan on it, but I haven't hit pan on it yet, even though I have worn it 89 times. So the difference between the first and last photo is 89 uses. The next one is a matte from Colourpop in the shade 143. This is a really, really nice purple shade. I don't have anything like it. This one I have exactly 100 uses tracked from that first photo up to the most recent one. And you can see that there is now a pretty big dip forming in the pan, but I don't think I'm close to actually hitting pan. Matte shades take me a lot longer to hit pan on than shimmer shades. The very next one, you'll see a much bigger difference, and that's because I use a lot more of it every time I use it, and that is Colourpop Issues, which is another matte. It's a lighter peachy shade. I've worn this 114 times from the very first photo all the way to the most recent one. And the reason I think this one is going a lot more quickly is because I often use this as a blush as well. Sometimes I'm mixing it with the other shade that I'm going to talk about next. Sometimes I'm just wearing it on its own. And so the pan is expanding a lot more quickly than it might on other mattes that I wear, because this one I can wear on my cheeks too. And this last one, Wait For It by Colourpop, another matte. This one I've worn 98 times, and I really don't think that the before and after photo shows what I think 98 uses would look like. But this is a very pigmented color, and I don't tend to wear a ton of this every time. This sort of color, this really dark, warm sort of shade, is something I used to love wearing all the time, especially back in the day when I had more red in my hair and I wore fake tanner, and I just embraced those warmer looks a lot more. Nowadays I go for more neutral leaning cool looks. I have more cool tones in my hair. Even though I reached for it 98 times, I was using so little each time that you're not really seeing a huge difference over those 98 uses. And like I said, on occasion I do wear this as a blush as well. I feel like I've been doing that a lot more lately, now that we're kind of getting into those spring and summer months. But over the fall and winter, I wasn't reaching for it that much in that way. So yeah, I thought that was just really cool. I've said before, I don't imagine I would ever do like a pan that palette project specifically, but I have been trying to reach for these more just on my own, and I like being able to track steps, so taking photos over time, even if it's not for a specific video, really helps keep me motivated because I can always look back and see at how far I've come, and it helps me kind of just stick to it. So that was everything I had to induct into Club 100 and Club 200. I don't imagine I have a lot of products that are close to 100 uses, so I think my next update is probably not going to be for a while, but I hope you enjoyed. I would love to know if there's anything you have worn so much that you think you've reached 100 uses, even if you don't explicitly track it like that. If you'd like to see more cost per use stuff from me, I did recently calculate the cost of a full face of makeup, and I gave you a few different options, and then also gave you a spreadsheet where you can calculate your own hypothetical full face of makeup. So if you want to do some more makeup math, I do have that video available to you, as well as my Club 100 playlist. But in the meantime, that's everything I have. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!